And good morning to my dear friends out there in the virtual world. I was away camping all weekend, and it's so nice to be back in my little brick studio, which, as you can see, it looks like the big bag wolf has shown up and it's starting to get blown down. I don't know, there's a crack in the brick wall. I'll need to get some masking tape to fix it. Actually, I moved some things just before I started filming today, and that is why it looks like that. So what are we doing today? Well, today I'm going to be, as you know, we have been looking at a lot of great new single origin coffees that have come into the roastery. We've talked to some of the producers. They're amazing and they're awesome, and hopefully you're trying them. And I'm also attempting to go back and look at some of the single origins that we released in spring that are still amazing. Just as these newer coffees are amazing, these are also amazing. So I just want to re-highlight some of these coffees that we had done brew demos on 3 months ago or so. So going back and just talking a little bit about some of these today, as it says in the comments down below, we are going to be brewing the Norikori. That's a Papua New Guinea coffee, New Guinean coffee, PNG we often say. We're going to be doing a Melitta pour-over. What I want to focus on today, we'll talk a little bit about the coffee, of course, but what I really want to focus on is the brewing process. And I wanted to dive a little bit into breaking down the ratios that we talk about when we talk about brewing coffee. You often will hear us discuss it's a 1 to 16, a 1 to 17, a 1 to 15. What does that mean? I'm going to work backwards from brewing a single cup of coffee using a Melitta pour-over method with a standard number 4 Melitta filter, and you'll get to see me kind of walk through that process. So yes, PNG to the cool kids is what it says in the comments there. You are right, PNG. Easier to say, and I won't make a mistake and say Papua, which it's not, it's Papua. Or at least that's as close as I can get to saying it. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly. So what is our coffee? Let's take a look at it really quick, shall we? So it is the Papua New Guinea Norikori. I'll always recommend that you go to the website, and as I always do, ask you to click onto this, this detailed coffee report. Because it is, I think, really cool to take a look at that and to see some of the additional information that Bob has put forward on this. Now, when you read any coffee report, what you'll always see is the region of origin. We call it out to farms, and then the varieties. Now, many coffees that come from smallholder farms, meaning that there are many farmers who have relatively small farms producing coffee often as one thing among many that they produce throughout an agricultural season. There will be multiple varieties included in this coffee, and those are all listed here. The key for this coffee, though, as you read in here, is talking about the family, the Colbran family, who have been managing farms and washing stations in Papua New Guinea since the 60s. So a couple of generations now have come up through coffee. And as with many origins, those farmers have reached out into the roasting world to build their relationships and understand what it is some roasters are looking for so that it can be a partnership in producing great coffee. In this case, it's a fully washed coffee, which means that they have a wet mill that the coffee comes to. And when that coffee comes to that wet mill, right in my face there, it is fully washed, which means they then do a traditional what we call fermentation. The coffee is depulped with water. It is then put into a holding space with water. It floats essentially, breaks down the mucilage, and then it gets down to just a parchment-covered seed. Those seeds are then put onto raised beds so that there's air circulation around them, managed very carefully to dry naturally. And that is how we come to have this coffee. And along the way, if you've watched these videos and we've talked with Bob and with our partners, you know that there's careful selection going on the entire process, starting with each of those smallholder farmers picking coffee at the washing station. Coffee is carefully selected out so that it can be sure to be a part of what is really a micro lot coffee coming from this area through the Colbon family. So that's the coffee. I want you to try it. And of course, in order to help with trying it, we'll always, remind you of our awesome 10% discount, Watch and Learn 10. Use that when you pop onto our website and type in Watch and Learn 10 when you order the coffee, and that will allow you to receive that discount. So I always want to remind everyone to use that. We appreciate seeing them come in, and it lets us know that these are of value to you watching these things. So what are we going to do today? So I have my coffee here, and I wanted to walk through the process for how I would determine how much coffee to use and in what ratio. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to actually pull up a calculator on my other screen here, and then we'll refer to it in just a minute. I'll start, of course, by turning on my scale and tearing it out with the mug I want to use, because what I want to do is determine how much water am I actually trying to produce, how much coffee am I trying to produce, right? What's my finished volume of coffee, right? So I'll just pour some water in here to get that measurement. Boop. All right. So what does it look like there? 278. So I'm going to write that down here. 278 grams written down here. That's how much coffee I want to have in this mug when I'm done with my pour over method. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that water. I have that measurement that I wanted. So now I just need to do the math, right, for what I'm trying to accomplish here. So I have my little calculator here. I'm going to go ahead and enter in 278. Now that's how much liquid I want to be having at the end, right? And then we start discussing the ratio. So when we talk about 1 to 15, 1 to 16, 1 to 17, what that means is we want there to be 1 gram of coffee for every 15, 16, 17 grams of water, right? So if we know that at the end that's how much water I'm going to have, I can go backwards and I can actually divide that by the amount, right? So we'll say 16. So what that tells me is I want to have approximately a little bit over 17 grams of coffee. See how that works? For every gram of water, I'm using 16 grams, or so for every gram of water, for every for every gram of coffee, I have 16 grams of water going in. If that makes sense, right? So I've just done it backwards, so that the ratio works out this way. I have 1 gram of coffee for every 16 grams of water, which means that I have 278 divided by 16, which divided by 16 equals 17.3 grams of coffee. So that's how much coffee I want to have, and I want to remember that number of 278 because that's what I'm going to pour to when I begin pouring the water. So we'll go to dumping this out. We'll put this back on. Now we bring in our Melitta filter. So just a reminder, when using the number 4 filters, see the bottom there, right? We're just going to fold that little, see that little crimped edge there, right? We want to fold those over, right? Right? We fold those over to kind of get them out of the way. Go ahead and kind of pre-open. Put our filter down in there. Now, you've probably seen us do this before. I'll get myself out of there. We preheat our paper filter, right? Preheats the vessel, the holding vessel, and also saturates the filter and removes any unwanted paper qualities from that filter, which we do not want to transfer down into our finished product, into our coffee. So now we will tare again, right? Because now I'm going to measure out my coffee. Now, if we recall, what is the number that we want? A little over 17 grams. So I'm going to actually stand up to get a true read. I'm going to put a little bit more in it. Touch more, but that's fine. We'll round up to 280 grams of water. So we have a little bit more than 17. We have 18 grams of water. I'm going to tare again, right? And now we're going to begin our pour. Now this is the point we'll have to remember. We go back to how much coffee we want. If you recall when we tared the water, right? We had 278 grams of water that we were trying to get to. That's our pour. I'm going to go up to 280 just because I have a little bit extra coffee in there, right? So let's see how this works. With any pour over, we want to try to flatten out that bed a little bit. Make sure it's still zeroed there. And we're going to do just enough coffee that's double the amount, just enough water that's double the amount of coffee we have. So we'll go to about 37, just to bloom the coffee a little bit. Didn't get a very well distributed pour of water there, but that's okay. And after about 30 seconds, as that coffee blooms a little bit, we're going to begin adding a full stream of water, and I'm going to do it in 2 pours. Pretty slow, actually, really. Not quite but just about the halfway mark of the total amount of water I want to have in there at the end. Now I'm going to very carefully pouring very slowly, trying to saturate all the water. I'm getting closer. Pause again. And then I'll finish the pour right at the end here. I'm going to go up to 280. A little bit over. And then with these pour overs, always do a little rotation like that. Move that slurry around. So that's a 283 for the water that went in. And we're at about a minute and 50 seconds now for our time. So it's pouring pretty quickly through. Let's take a look at it, shall we? It's going to be a little bit over 2 minutes for the pour. A little fast. I could probably tighten the grinds up a little bit. But the real test I'm trying to get to here is just how close was I in the distribution of the water into the final mug, right? So what Eric says here, replying to Backdoor, I just got one last week and I'm glad I did. So, the Scali scale is pretty sweet. Yes. So just want to respond to that. Scales, right? And we talk about them all the time. We've put a link for them down below. Go check those out. And remember that discount applies to gear as well as coffee. So yeah, the scales are what we use to have to come to coffee with a sense of measurement in order to achieve ratio work, right? In order to brew our coffee in a way that allows the water to capture all the things we want out of the coffee. All right. Producing 1 full cup of coffee. So, I mean, it is just a little bit of simple math, and even I got discombobulated, right? So I used a 1:16 ratio with the Melitta. There's a tasting note in this, which is lemon, and we talk about caramel for sure. The sweetness is definitely a caramel sweetness, and cedar bough, I think, is really what we're talking about when we talk about cedar. There's a resinous quality to the coffee, which is really. I've talked about it before when I've drunk this coffee. It is for me a great morning coffee. I mean, I love this type of coffee in the morning. It's not as sweet and bright as some other washed coffees because of, I mean, definitely there's a citrus quality to it, but the sweetness is more of a caramel, so a little bit heavier on the palate, and then that resinous cedar quality is just so refreshing. It is a delicious coffee. I will tell you right now, because I believe in authenticity, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow for the show. So send me your ideas. If there's something you want to see me do, I'd be happy to do it. I will tell you on Thursday what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be at La Marzocco in Ballard. Very happy to be joining some customers down there as we look at a La Marzocco machine. So I'm going to do a little bit of filming from that location on Thursday. Just so if you've never been to La Marzocco, this would be great for you to kind of see their setup. They have worked so hard on finding ways to help customers demo machines and still, respect the restrictions that we all need to be putting in place in the world of retail and in public environments, right? So being able to manage a space in a way that is safe for the staff, the employees, as well as potential customers. So it's going to be a situation where they've set up the room with the machine we're going to look at, which is the KB90, and then I get to come in masked up with my customers. We talk through the machine, we play with it, we ask some questions of the sales folks remotely, and then we leave, right? So, and then they come in behind us, clean everything up, and that's what we get to do. It's going to be kind of fun to play with the machine, so check out. I'm talking to them later today to kind of discuss about the parameters of filming in there, but it will be mostly just handheld camera, and then my friend Brendan in Florida will help to, both Brendan and Ben will help to get that distributed out to all of you on the different platforms. But tomorrow, I don't know, send some notes here. I'll check the comments later. I saw that a lot of folks put in great shots of their mugs for the mugshot challenge, mugs outdoors. I know I definitely did in my camping situation. We're going camping again this weekend, so I'll be doing some more camping coffee. I look forward to seeing your pictures on the VIP page. We'll put a link down below. So if you're not a member yet of the VIP page, you can join that. There are things like the mugshot challenge there, as well as other discounts that get released. So check out there, become a member, engage with us there, and there definitely are perks to being a member of the VIP club. Hope you're having a great day on this lovely Tuesday. It's 93 degrees here in Seattle, Washington State. I'm sure for our friends down in Georgia, that doesn't seem like a thing because you have humidity as well. But still, for us, whew, hot. So maybe next week we'll focus again on iced coffee. But until then, enjoy a little bit of the Norikori brewed with Melitta. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you again this week as we continue learning how to turn our homes into cafes. Take care.